because he doesn't like us. That's cool.
They don't like us. Okay, Don Garber got to us. He fried the board. His people took us out. We're back, part 2 of the Eastern Conference. Hopefully, if I go into slideshow mode again, I'm just going to let these guys carry it. So we were talking about the Red Bulls.
Yeah, we don't know where we lost out on that. So just to briefly recap, no Henry, no Pecky, no Cahill, which is, after last season is not, anything I think Rebel fans to worry about. But the absence of Olave on defense, a lot of questions with their defense. Right now it looks like starting off is going to be Zubar and Paranel. Austin says he thinks Andre John Baptiste will probably take over at some point. I kind of agree with that, or
So.
John Kennedy Hurtado. But that's we're going to go through the Paranel Zubar experiment. They did not look good against Philly, and Robles did not look good against Philly. So hopefully he got those terrible Butterfinger demons that goalkeepers have every now and then out of his system. But it's going to come down to that. I think BWP will have an okay year. He's not going to obviously score 27 goals again, but with Kleshin, Felipe, Sam, possibly old fan favorite Dane Richards feeding him, Lewandowski still, I think he'll have plenty of quality service. It's just if he can maintain his finishing for them. Outside of that, Mike Gurla, he's new. We'll see.
I've heard he's really impressed in terms of his trial.
Yeah, no, he looked really good all preseason long. I mean, against the Union, he could probably put 4 or 5 away that either just went wide or Risenboli, made really, really good saves multiple times on him. If that was Zach McMath, the Rebels win that like 6-3 that game, in all honesty.
And how have they lined up? I haven't gotten the chance to see how they've lined up in the midfield, specifically the left side, because that was my question. And I saw on Twitter that they were considering putting Kleshin there, which I personally would not like at all.
No, I think their best midfield. They're gonna go. Marsh is gonna play a similar formation as Pecky towards the end of last season, 4-2-3-1. But they're gonna play a different style instead of being a counterattacking team, which is what they were best at. Over the last 2 seasons, especially when they decimated Kansas City both times in Sporting Park the last 2 seasons. They did it on a counterattacking style against a team that likes the high press. I think the Rebels are going to become a high-pressing team. That they want to press. They want to press starting with Bradley Wright Phillips all the way down. They can be a high-press team. So that's a commitment to fitness, and I don't know how. It's a lot of new pieces, so it's tough to tell where guys are, with how committed they're going to be to it. But I think the best is going to be McCarty alongside Kleshin, sitting in front of the back 4. Kleshin will probably have a little bit more free reign to go forward, like as you alluded to with Mix when he was in Norway. Felipe sitting in front of them, and then out wide right, obviously Lloyd Sam. If they sign Dane Richards, it's a very good backup. And on the left, their best options are going to be Salzizo, and they were playing Mike Gurla there, and he tucked in and went up alongside BWP, and that's where Kleshin kind of floated out to the left. So it's going to be, as Jesse Marsh has explained, a fluid attacking style. So they're going to have a couple of games to gel with that. I expect that the starting 11 opening night against Sporting Kansas City, unless they go out and they win 25-0, probably won't be the starting lineup at home against DC 2 weeks later. But it's a little too early to tell, especially with new coach, new team, and everything.
Well, I don't think anyone else can break down the Red Bulls like that. So.
Perfect.
That's why we kicked off Mike, so that's perfect.
So there you go. So I've got the Red Bulls getting in. I got them 5th or 6th. I think they make it. Tyler?
Sorry, Mike. Nope, not me.
Oh,
Austin, no. Tyler?
I don't know. That's tough, man. I don't
Close.
know. Yeah, if New York is going to squeak, I don't know, man. I'm going to go with no. They're on the fringe for me, but I'm going to go with no.
Rob, you think they squeeze in?
Yeah, I could see them squeezing in.
Mike, you have him winning the Supporter Shield?
No, I do not. In my official rankings for the East, I have him third, actually.
There you go.
I mean, you're talking about a new coach, a new manager, a new style, which is what you just referenced, right? You're going to switch to a counter-attacking style. You have a missing center back who usually would lead the team.
It's going to be Bob.
Oh.
There's too many questions for me. It comes down to center back and the left side. And if I could see Grella or Zizou impressing, but like I said, in a competitive East, there are too many questions for me right now.
Yeah, too many variables. That's the problem for me too. Is who's gonna step up for you? Is it going to be Question? Okay, cool. Yeah, but that's a lot of questions for me for the coach, the style, a different formation, leadership is going to be a problem. What are you going to do?
Indeed.
So the only thing, like we went through this 2 years ago with Pecky and all that. So the only, then obviously we had Henri. We don't have Henri now, but I think I predict they'll sign a DP in the summer, a big name one also.
Yeah, that's the wild card probably. All right.
Do you think that helps your chances or hurts them? For this season.
That's the X factor is how well the team is doing up to that point. If they're not doing well, the right DP will. If they bring the right DP in, that'll settle the team like a Jermaine Jones for New England. New England was on a terrible stretch. He came in, he settled it down. They went for such a push. I think if they get a DP of that style, not Jones' style, but in that same mold.
Yeah, somebody who fills a vital role for you guys. Yeah, I could see that.
But
Bobby Wood, if you will.
If the team is doing really well, we'll say by all manners of a miracle, and they're gelling and they don't need a DP, I think that will kill their season. I think that's where Ali Curtis will make his mistake. That will get him canned at the end of the season.
They're only using one DP slot right now too. So too much change might hurt them. Like you.
Oh, agreed. I don't want them to sign two in the summer, a la 2010.
Yeah, but that's
all
tough.
Right.
I feel like not having all your DPs before the season in the current MLS atmosphere probably isn't a good move, especially if you only have one, because then you're looking at wanting to fill it mid-season. So that's another thing.
All right, 3 teams to go. We're going to wrap this up in the next 15 minutes or so. That's the goal, at least. We'll see. We move on to hashtag fill the bowl. Orlando filled the bowl, which...
Chick-fil-A!
They filled the bowl. Good for them. No, Orlando City coming in. They've got 60,000 people hoping the CBA gets done for Sunday in a national TV audience. They've got Ricky, the captain, Kaká.
Didn't catch any of that.
I'm still talking. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Fine. They've got Kaká, captain.
Go ahead on Orlando.
All right. Well,
you guys go ahead. Go ahead on Orlando.
I have Orlando creeping in, and I could easily not see them making it, but right now I have them in. And I think their defensive line could be one of the best in the league, actually, despite Colin being inconsistent last year. I think Seb Hines has good potential in the league. Ramos, I think, could be the next DeAndre Yedlin in the league. Shea, I think, will have a good year at left back if he stays at left back. But he'll start there, it looks like. I also think Luke Bowden is probably a decent backup for Shea. Then in the midfield, I think it's looking strong with Molino and Kaká. They've hooked up well. The biggest question mark for me is striker, but I think they have the midfield components to take care of that, if you will. And their strike force is young, but there is a lot of potential there. They have in my opinion, they probably have the most impressive potential youth coming through, maybe in the league. So that's what I have to say on that. And Akugo, of course, I didn't mention him. I think he could have a big year. But on the opposite side of that, I think there's a lot of optimistic points I just made. And realistically, Akugo hasn't played a lot of defensive mid in the league. Shea certainly hasn't played a lot of left back. Ramos is young. Hines hasn't been playing much at Middlesbrough. Colin, again, inconsistent last year. Young strikers. And then you have Kaká, and if no one else performs, then you have a one-man team. And that team, I don't think, would make the playoffs, but otherwise, I think they would. I think they'll do well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of question marks with them, like you said. Tally Hall, when does he come back? When he comes back, does he?
Mention that, yeah.
Does he play?
That's a big question. I think Ricketts will fill in well until Hall can return, but how long he takes and whether Ricketts even does well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And even if Hall comes back, does he replace Ricketts right away? That'll be
that too, yeah.
Something to watch. I think they're barely out on the outside, like 7th to me. I think they could get there. I think they could get there if Kaká has an MVP carries them type season. I think it's just going to be tough. I mean, it's going to be tough for them. They're going to have a lot of travel to like everywhere. Mm-hmm. They're the only team down there.
Yeah.
Pretty much everywhere they go is going to be a flight.
Home is going to be a fortress for them, though. I think that's kind of obvious with 60,000 going to their opener, but
yeah, they're definitely gonna have a good home field. I mean, and they'll be kind of what we have here in Houston, where it's hot, humid all summer. People don't want to go there. I'm saying they're just on the outside. Did you guys anybody have them in?
I do. I can see them getting in.
Me too.
Everyone but me has them in. Dang.
Yeah, it's just the way they're building it. It seems like they're doing it the right way.
It does seem like the right way. Actually, the biggest question mark for me, Adrian Heath. No idea how he'll do as a manager.
Yeah.
So. Fair, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he did well in USL, and now it's a jump up. Yeah, he's definitely a big question mark, especially with, I mean, they have some big guys there. Kaká, obviously Shea's played overseas, Hines, like you said. So he's got to get all those guys kind of thrown together real fast. And here we go, national TV, 60,000. Good luck. But I think they're going to be fun to watch, if anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think toward the end of the season is when we'll really understand how good they can be. Because early on, it's going to be rough. I mean, this first game, I don't know, 60,000 or not, it's going to be a rough game, I think, for them just getting everything together. But then again, it's
against New York, to be fair.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's just going to be a weird game to watch for those 60,000 people, but it could also be awesome. It could be wide open. It could be fun.
Yes, it's definitely a huge game, not a rivalry. Stop people on Twitter. Stop attacking each other. No. You're not rivals.
I don't know. I think middle of the season, if they're still in playoff, they'll make it. I think they'll make it.
Okay, so that would be Philadelphia next. They're out. So next, Toronto. Just kidding.
Did you?
Philadelphia, huh?
Listen, I could.
Slideshow.
I don't think Philly. I have them out. To be honest.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Right.
They're another one.
You guys can hear me. You can talk about Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think they'll be out. I think Philadelphia. We don't have anybody
just going
here on the call. We could have gotten Scott Kessler, but I didn't know we didn't have a Philly person. But yeah, I just don't. I don't think they have it this year. Maybe next year. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean they made decent moves. I think Aristegueta, like I said, he's promising, and then they have a lot of the same team.
I like Zach Pfeffer, but he's a couple years out, so we'll see.
Yeah. I think. Let's see. Well, who's the Portuguese center back they just signed?
Oh yeah. What's his name? It's coming to me. Can't think of it.
Vittoria, Steven Vittoria.
Yeah. He's Canadian Portuguese.
Loan from Benfica.
I wish
he's on loan from Benfica.
Yeah. You got Adu. I don't know if Adu's projected to play defensive mid or center back this year. I think defensive mid, actually, and I think Ethan White and Vittoria will probably play center back, which could be pretty decent. Ethan White was pretty good last year, so I still don't see them making the playoffs, though, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, they're a good team to put on the outside.
So Philadelphia is pretty much, that's about it. Does anyone have them making it?
No.
No.
Unfortunately not. I mean, I think they could be one of those kind of bogey teams that jumps up and steals points from people, but not so much. All right, one team left. Maybe my computer will make it. Maybe I'll be a slideshow again. They are the back-to-back off-season champions. However, have yet to actually translate that on the field. Toronto FC, it has to be the year, does it not, Rob?
It has to be. And I think if you were to watch the season preview from last year, I said the exact same thing.
We could probably just roll last year's preview.
Probably, yeah.
Just change the photo Altidore and you'll be fine.
Pretty much, yeah. No, I think the difference between last season and this season is that we actually have some kind of balance from back line all the way up to the front, whereas last year we were a lot more heavily weighted up front, and then we kind of just left Michael Bradley to kind of pick up the pieces for the midfield and the back line. But this year, I mean, you're going to have Benoit Cheyrou right next to Michael Bradley, with Colin Warner able to come off the bench to kind of back up either one of those two guys.
Right.
You got Stephen Caldwell, center back, with Damien Perkis, and those two guys are going to be animals as long as Perkis can understand what Caldwell's saying. But no, I think this season we're going to have a much better all-round team. The only thing I'm worried about, well, there's two main concerns. One will be just chemistry.
Vanny.
And Vanny. Those are my two main concerns. I know that Javinko is going to be able to score. I know Altidore is going to put in a few. I hope more. I hope more than a few, but no, I'm not really worried about production, because individually I think the players will be able to handle their own. Even with Robbie Finley had a really strong preseason. He was able to bury a few for TFC in some of their games.
I think Finley could have a good year.
Yeah.
Surprisingly good.
I mean, there's a lot of, you can call them reclamation projects that are going on in Toronto with Finley, Altidore, and so on. But I mean, I think the core has been built. It's a talented core, and I think as long as they can stick together and actually play as a team, then I think there's a good shot at some magic happening.
Let me ask you this, Rob. Haglund, do you think Haglund could, I'm not saying this would be because Caldwell underperforms, but do you think Haglund could impress so much that he would overtake Caldwell's spot? Because that's something I've been curious about.
You know what? I can't see can't see something like that happening. I mean, barring injury to Caldwell or something or suspension.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Caldwell's he's a solid defender through and through, but like any other defender, you've seen it so many times. He'll go in for a challenge, trying to block a shot, and he'll have his arm sticking out in the back, and he'll pick up a handball, and it'll result in a penalty. Mm-hmm. Or he'll be a little bit too physical when he shouldn't be, and he'll pick up possibly a red card.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Haglund is good enough yet to be able to take a veteran like Caldwell's spot. He's still an apprentice, especially now that they've got another CB like Perkis.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much only asked Caldwell because he's certainly not going to take Perkis' spot.
No chance.
How do you think he's looked in the preseason, by the way?
Oh, between him and Sheru, those two guys, they seem like just animals.
Yeah, I watched part of one game, but Perkis, like Simon, could be a Defender of the Year candidate too.
I think that he's got the ability for it. Again, as long as he could stay healthy, because I don't know for a fact, but I think I remember seeing that he's had a few injury problems in the past.
Yeah, so, I think he was pretty injury plagued last year in Spain. I could be wrong, but I believe I saw that too.
But I think as long as he can stay healthy, good things can happen. He's that aggressive, ball-winning central defender who'd be able to kind of, make that push and kind of cut things off before someone actually has a chance to go one-on-one with a defender if that situation comes up. And then you've got your Bradley and you've got your Sheru that'll, they're ball winners themselves. With Caldwell being like a stay-at-home center back, I think that's a good defensive line, and we're not even talking about Justin Morrow on the wing. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's solid last season, and I think he'll just pick up where he left off. The only question mark.
Bloom too. I mean, Bloom's probably the biggest question mark in your starting lineup, and he was probably the best right backs in the league last year. To be honest, he was really consistent.
I could never question Bloom's tenacity and his work ethic, but I just don't like. I've never seen it more apparent than the very first game of the season against Seattle. Seattle focused their entire attack to cut down the right wing, and every attack and cross came through that right side through Mark Bloom. So he's definitely a question mark. And I think I saw somewhere over the weekend or late last week where somebody was mentioning that Warren Creavalle might even be taking that right back spot from Mark Bloom.
Yeah, Creavalle. I mean, I liked Bloom last year. The first few games were certainly shaky, but I liked him. And Creavalle, like since Houston, Dustin could certainly. I like Creavalle a lot, but if he can even move or talk. But
I liked Creavalle. He had a sweet high top fade. He got locked in the bathroom one year in the preseason. Hashtag free Warren.
Brooklyn native, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean
Jovinko's winning newcomer of the year. My bold prediction.
I'm there with you on that one, actually, Dustin.
Jovinko's going to outscore Altidore. He's going to end up being the one that leads the team in goals. That's my prediction.
Yeah. All right, so does everyone have Toronto in?
Yes.
Actually, this might. I don't know who else has this opinion. This might surprise some, but I have them in the top 3.
I have them third.
I also have them top 3.
Which goes to the next prediction, which will round off the show. The Eastern Conference representative in MLS Cup is, I'm going to say, Toronto FC.
Whoa. Can you just repeat that? I didn't catch that.
Toronto versus, you'll have to wait for my Western Wednesday. But going Toronto, third in the regular season. By the playoffs, they have it together. They're clicking. They get it done. Going with Toronto. Rob,
Did Toronto won this year? Pray for Rob.
Good. Yeah, I think. I wouldn't even know what to say.
Rob, if you had to pick a Eastern Conference, Toronto or the Field, who's going to the Cup?
Based on history or based on gut feeling?
Both.
Oh man, that's a bold prediction.
All right, who do you guys have in the going to the Cup from the East?
I have the Crew actually taking it to New England in the conference finals. But I'll say this, Rob. I'll say this: if TFC makes the final, if you want to go, I will go with you to wherever the final is played. I'll go. I will go watch TFC in MLS Cup against whoever in the West.
Yep. If TFC makes the MLS Cup final, I will wear a TFC jersey for every Roundtable next season. You've heard it here first.
We'll have to get the hashtag going, MLS for TFC.
Yeah.
TMLS, Total MLS for TFC.
Total MLS for TFC.
Let's not do that.
Tyler, who you got?
Crew? I think the Crew are going to be in the final.
There's two for the Crew.
I just love Chris Klute that much.
Yeah, that's a huge signing for them, I think. Yeah. Austin, who you got?
It comes down to the Crew and TFC, and I'm just going to go with TFC because of potential.
Ooh. There it is.
Hey, did I mention Orlando's my second favorite team, or?
They're not even my second favorite team.
Break
Wow.
Rob, it's up to you to break the tie.
You know what?
TFC 2, Columbus.
How beautiful of a Eastern final would that be?
Well, you're still going to lose in the final.
How many TFC fans do you think would get tasered for traveling in Columbus?
I haven't even thought of that. TFC Columbus? That could really happen.
Imagine the TFC versus Crew Eastern final.
That'll be fun.
That'd be insanity.
Trillium to the next level.
Oh yeah. No, I think that.
All right. I think I'm losing.
Yeah, it's always good. I think I'm losing. Well,
there you go.
Why did you even play, Dustin? I don't know. That's crazy.
Wait, Rob. So who do you have in, Rob?
I've got.
All right.
I've got New England.
We're ending the show on that note. If anyone can still hear me.
New England.
At the buzzer.
Oh, that's funny. That was gold. So apparently Rob's picking New England for MLS Cup.
If anyone can,
and that's cool.
If anyone can still hear me.
Yes, we all can.
We're going to end the show on that note. Rob's taking New England.
Rob's taking New England in MLS Cup. So all right.
Thanks to everyone who managed through our technical difficulties. We'll be bringing you another preview show on Wednesday, maybe, if my Comcast works. So thanks for everyone who listened. Till next time, adios.